So, hello everybody, and welcome to this special edition of ITT Future You, which is in aid of International Women's Day. My name is Ulpa, and I am one of the board members for the ITT Education Committee. And it's great to have you listening in. I've joined today by Tara Sankopara, who works for the Culture Trip, and I'll be talking to her about her role in the industry, how she got there, any advice that she's got for any of you that are listening in today. So hi Tara.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. So we'll just go straight into the questions that I've got for you today. So just a little bit of background then on your education. So what was the study route that you took to get where you are now?
Yeah, so I graduated from university in 2017 after doing a maths degree. And then following that, in terms of education, I then completed a Makers Academy bootcamp. So that was a coding bootcamp specifically to take me into the career that I'm in now.
Great, thank you for that. So what was your first job after you left university?
So a few months after graduating from university, I started working for a fintech company in the operations team. Originally, after doing maths, I thought that I would go into a career in finance. So I thought that going into a fintech, which is financial technology, part finance, and then work my way up from there.
Yeah, and I guess often that's what happens, isn't it? When you go to university, you sort of think, well, that's the kind of career that I need to take on because this is what I've studied. But what's interesting is what you sort of did after that, really. So what was that change that happened in your career, I guess?
So I think I realized that in a job that I wanted to be doing, I always wanted something that would be challenging me, doing something different every day, continuously learning through my job. So everyone has that idea of, oh, I'm just going to be stuck on that 9 to 5, same thing every day. And I was like, I definitely don't want that. I want something where I'm more challenged, doing something different. So that's where I realized that a career in tech would offer me those opportunities to do that.
Great, fantastic. So was coding something you thought about and going into tech when you were doing your degree, or was it something that came along after you sort of went into employment?
So I obviously understand now there is a bigger push, especially when someone's at university. There's a bigger push for girls taking on STEM courses and taking on STEM careers. And I think that just that big push kind of came around just after I graduated. So I didn't have much knowledge of it at the time. And it wasn't until I started working at my first job after uni, being a part technology company, that I then became aware of all the different sort of roles that are available, what the tech team actually do, what they work on, what their job is. And then that's where I became interested in those types of roles.
That's great. And especially, I think, understanding that, well, it's International Women's Day and you're a woman, going into an industry which has predominantly been sort of male dominated as well. So that's really great to see that there's that angle being taken in. So did you have to have any particular skills in order to get into this, or was it developing things that you already had?
So a great thing with coding is if you have that ambition and you essentially enjoy it, it's something that you could do and learn on your own. You can learn it in your own time, and develop your skills how you want to. Obviously, a main factor that would kind of increase the speed of you getting into a tech career would be if you studied at university. So whether you do computer science is one of the options. But there's many different ways. So obviously the way that I took was through a boot camp. Before even knowing that I wanted to do the boot camp, I was lucky enough to be offered a tech platform through my job, which allowed people from any different career path or job role to learn a bit of coding, see if you like it, see if you don't. So that's where I began, and I did a beginner's course in Python. And then following that, I became more aware of opportunities specifically for girls as well. So I joined a Code First Girls course, which was a free course held after work weekly or every couple of weeks. And that was more on websites and learning how to build a website. So I thought, okay, I have the basics in place. So I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. And so if I could do this every day for work, that would be like the best job. So that's kind of how I kind of started into the industry.
Great. And sort of talking about the job, I guess, can you tell us a little bit about the culture trip? Because obviously we're ITT, so we're in the industry, and obviously culture trip are in that industry too.
Yeah, so I mean, personally for me, travel's a big enjoyment of mine, love traveling. So I think starting a career, coding is something that's obviously available in any sector. They have tech careers out there, but specifically in travel, I think if you enjoy the industry, then that's key because you're going to enjoy what you're doing every day and what you're working on. I mean, personally for me, I get to look at all different places around the world, every day, hotels, cities, experiences. So half of the time it feels like I'm more planning a holiday than even working, which is such a good thing. And yeah, I think it's great knowing that I'm creating a product for like-minded individuals who love to travel. So whether it be people like me, similar to me, or even just have that like excitement about travel.
Yeah. And so, what is it overall that Culture Trip do as an organisation? What's Culture Trip about?
So we're a content for travel, transitioning into e-commerce. So we offer all different types of experiences, booking places to stay around the world, but also providing content, and so also providing content for people who want to travel and interested to know where to go, etc.
Great. And we know what the last year has been like. It's been a very different year for lots of different companies. Is there anything that Culture Trip have had to make in terms of changes with the pandemic? How has that affected what you do as well?
Yeah, so I think for us, Culture Trip being a sort of non-traditional travel company in the sense that we're more content-centric platform than a travel company that would need people to like physically get on a plane and go somewhere. So I think that benefited us because we were kind of had that agile company. So we were able to, use the content that we had to carry on inspiring people who may be looking towards traveling in the future once it's all over. And we are also able to launch experiences which were based from home. So this included things like cooking classes, which I did one myself. So being unable to travel, but it kind of brings the experience of travel into your own home. So that was great.
That's lovely. Just sort of taking it back a little bit, maybe in terms of timescales, I think, which would be good for our listeners as well, is to understand sort of when you finished university and the time between that and where you are now, how long that period was. Because I didn't obviously say your age, so they don't know how old you are, but I think it would help to understand from finishing university what the timescale has been for you, and whether you've moved up within that role as well, and whether you've kind of progressed in that timescale.
So graduating in 2017 and getting a job a few months after that. That's kind of what happened. That was as a payments advisor at the fintech company. I stayed there for a couple of years, and it wasn't until around February, March of 2019 that I then decided to do my Makers Academy bootcamp. So because that was a full-time course, it meant that I had to give up work or put hold on work for that time. So I decided to leave my role there. And this was a 3-month bootcamp, which ended probably around June 2019. And then after job hunting and taking interviews, I was lucky enough to secure a place at the Culture Trip in November 2019. So it was a bit of a break, but they do have a job guarantee, which is great. And I was able to secure one of the jobs, which was even better. And then it was obviously a few months in the office and getting to meet everyone until around March 2020, and then we all got sent home. Working from home. But yeah, and that's been it. And I feel like from 2020 it's gone very quickly. Obviously the transition of working from home was something that we all had to get used to. But I think as the kind of company that we are, it was quite easy for most of us to be able to work from home, and in this role specifically as well. And from then, yeah, I mean, they offer internal promotions and making your way up your career ladder within the company, which is something that I'm working on and doing. So yeah, I look forward to what the role brings in the future, and hopefully more accelerated after everything picks up again as well.
Great. And what advice would you give somebody who wants to work in the industry?
So I think obviously having a passion for the industry and loving what you do is the key part, because like I said, if you enjoy what you're doing every day, it's not exactly going to feel like work. So that's also great. And also understanding that, I know we didn't know that obviously what happened in 2020 was coming. No one was ready for it, but obviously just being aware that the market can change and being prepared for that. And just being able to adapt as well. And I think a lot of travel companies are now moving towards going towards sustainability, which is a big factor in the travel industry. So being aware of that as well, and knowing that those kind of changes are coming up.
Great. Thank you. And what's the one piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
This is tough because I feel like saying nothing, because if I didn't make the decision that I made, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. So it got me to where I am now. But probably being a woman in tech, and in that kind of industry, I would just say be open to new opportunities. Don't be worried about change or doing something different to maybe what you see everyone else doing, because I mean, someone's got to take that initial step, and you have to take that initial step to doing that. Yeah, and I think just not being scared or worried about those new things and new places. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Tara, for sharing your story and things that you can let the listeners know about as well. So that's been amazing. So yeah, thank you everybody for listening. And yeah, we shall see you all again soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.